It's not another Buffalo podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
All you people out there who are like, these idiots don't know anything. First of all, you're right. And second of all,
I'm just a dad talking in a closet, but I'm just saying.
And Brando.
We have this trust built on whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
all right, welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. I'm here with the boys, Pat and Brando. You can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. How are we doing, boys? It's Chiefs week. It's week 11 already. Doesn't it feel like we just started the season a couple weeks ago?
Yes, it does. I will tell you for sure, I feel a lot better this year during Chiefs week than I did last year. You know, being 6-6 versus 8-2.
Right.
Allen looks to be clearly the better quarterback right now. Say whatever you want, you TikTok warriors in our comments, but
keyboard warriors. Yeah.
Allen is better right now, and there's not really any lying about it. You know, offensively, statistically, the eye test. So it's exciting.
Visibly, more attractive quarterback in my humble opinion.
It's not even close. Let's pull the win in the world, and Allen wins like 90 to 10%. I think.
Yeah, at least. But I was actually, that was kind of like the first thing I wanted to dive into. That this is like, I don't feel stressed this week at all.
No,
and I think it's an easy answer. Is this the least stressful Chiefs matchup of the last few years?
For
I think
sure.
That's an easy yes for me.
Yes.
Right. Is this, okay, 1 degree further than that? Is this the least meaningful matchup between the Bills and the Chiefs in the last few years?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Because like the Bills are winning their division, right? What this game, I don't want to say this game doesn't matter. It would be huge, but it's like, it kind of feels like a cherry on top bonus. Almost the same way that the Bass kick felt like, hey, there's not really a downside. If he misses this, it was long. We're tied. We're going to overtime. It's like this game almost doesn't matter because it's just like it's like a preview of the playoff game that we know is going to happen, which is going to matter much more.
It's not even a legitimate preview because we're definitely not full strength, and neither are the Chiefs. And if Hollywood Brown comes back, that's a totally different offense, I think, for the Chiefs. And then we're missing Coleman. If Kincaid is 50%, shout out to Dawson Knox also with the heck of a catch. Definitely degree of difficulty on that. But, you know, if you're missing Cooper, Coleman, and Kincaid, say that 3 times fast. Cooper, Coleman, and Kincaid, it's a huge disadvantage for us. And it's cool to see the defense pick it up this week. But, you know, this game is for us. Talking pundits, for the media, for fans. Taylor Swift's in Toronto, going to be at the stadium, most likely. NFL, say whatever
Brandon,
you want.
Are you going to be working there at the stadium watching them sneak her in a refrigerator or something like that?
I told you I saw it last time, right? She was in the big SUV. They drive it in. Like, it was right in front of me. She got out. It's cool. Yeah.
That's funny.
So,
but
did you
also,
see this?
I was going to say, before we get too far into this, I just want to say this episode is brought to you guys by Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, our guy, Zach Korzelius, you can call him at 585-409-1088 or contact him at Zachary@smallcityrealestate.com. I'll have that in the show notes. Cool house in Batavia that is up for sale, $169. Just had a price drop, so check that out in the comments. I'll put the Zillow link in there so you can go Zillow stock it, and pictures on the screen during the YouTube version of this. So yeah, 585-409-1088. Zach Korzelius is our guy for Western New York Realty. So Brandon, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just kind of speaking of realty, the real estate spots at the stadium, the seats that you sit in, the ticket prices, first of all, are through the roof. I was getting $300 looks for the last row of the 300 level section, which I thought was massive. Wow. My sister wants to go. She's debating it, you know, and I'm like, $300 per inning is quite a lot of money. But I was reading that maybe they said it on Jeremy and Joe, that the seats around the section that Taylor Swift sat last time are astronomically more expensive than what a normal seat is, already super expensive. So
just so you can turn around and see Taylor Swift.
I mean, I guess your chances of being on TV are a little bit higher too. So
yeah, I was gonna say that last row, you're right. We need to plant people in those seats that we want aired on TV next to Taylor Swift. You know, like
I'll just hold a big sign of our logo. Right, just stand right in front of me.
Not another Buffalo podcast. Oh, that'd be great.
Brandon, you're fired. Oh, you know. It's okay.
Well, speaking of unsung heroes out there, in preparation of Chiefs Week, I thought I'd ask you guys. It's kind of a trick question. I'll see if, without looking, do you know who the leading receiver was for the Chiefs last week?
Oh, wait. No. Okay, sorry. Brandon, all right, Pat, I thought I had the same exact trivia. I wrote down a very similar thing because I was looking through the Bills' schedule last year, and on ESPN, you can see the leading rusher, receiver. We'll get to it in a second. It's a different question, but so leading receiver of the Chiefs last week.
Yep.
Right?
I'm going to say Kareem Hunt because I had him in fantasy and he had quite a day. Yeah.
Well,
just points wise, just enough. Like just enough.
Seven catches for 65 yards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just very interesting dichotomy of, I feel like you talk about Hollywood Brown too, and I feel like we might be sleeping on Juju here a little bit too. I think when he gets back.
Isn't he hurt?
He is. Hurt? Yeah. He should be back later in the season, but.
The interesting run of running backs we have seen here with Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, we're going to have David Montgomery, Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
Who else do we got? Breece Hall coming back. There's a big stretch.
Kyron Williams.
Yes.
In a couple
he's the
weeks.
one I'm missing. Yeah.
But I was going to say, Pat, the stat that I was going to quiz you guys about, which is really interesting, is who is the Bills' leading receiver last year versus the Chiefs? And it was James Cook. So that's another interesting tidbit there. He had the most receiving yards against the Chiefs last year. So interesting to see if we'll get a similar game plan this year. I would think not. But I don't know. If the Chiefs play a similar game plan, you could see check down after check down after check down and see that kind of game evolve. But
to go back to what you're saying, John, the check down, right? I believe the Chiefs have the most 10-play drives in the NFL. I think it's like 57, maybe 54, 57. I believe the next closest is like 45. So they have a big lead on it, but they had a bunch of them again against Denver. These long drives that they're dinking and dunking and taking the receptions and taking the little check downs to Kels. And we were talking about the running backs that the Bills have faced, the run defense, the way that we play Jonathan Taylor is promising for how that we could possibly play the Chiefs, a big run in the first half and 3 yards in the second half.
Right. Which again, like getting run all over like the Bills have might be, the Chiefs are a team that probably won't get away from that. So unless you're scoring enough points where they have to start passing, I'm sure they're fine with spamming run. You just get a couple of run stuffs and stuff like that. It's like the Bills' run defense has been bad, but it's almost like intentionally bad because explosive runs are still better than explosive plays. Explosive passes. I'll be okay.
It is curious, though. If you look, Kareem Hunt's only 14 carries for 35 yards. I think they
this past week.
Yeah. I think they only rushed for, 35 plus 20, 55 plus 3, under 60 yards rushing last week. So,
and that Denver defense is pretty good to give them credit, despite what they looked like against the Ravens, which I think everyone gets run over by the Ravens these days. But that Denver defense is nothing to, wave your nose at. And I know it's been talked about to death already this week, but I almost expected at this point, watching that Denver kick and Kansas City winning another way again.
Yeah.
It's like we made the reel 2.5 weeks ago. What will it take for the Chiefs to lose a game? Apparently not a 35-yard game-winning field goal.
Blah.
That was not enough.
Yeah.
But it's just I expected at this point. And I almost expect it. I don't want to be cynical. I almost expect it for this next coming week a little bit with the Bills. To me, I just want to pre-frame it in my head. A win is a bonus. A loss, you're fine. And I know that, Pat, I know you know this too, because I know you're the same as me with this. It's like you go into it with low stakes, and as soon as that first kick, as soon as the kickoff hits, you're like, this is everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like win or lose, do or die. Those are the stakes. That's kind of how this season was a little bit too, where we're going in, we're like, guys, it's going to be okay. Low expectations. And as soon as they win the first couple games, it's
best start ever.
Boom, we're on. It's Super Bowl or bust, baby. Yeah. And the disappointment is the same when they lose, but we tried to get it in last week and we didn't really get to it. So I think this is a good time, but we were talking about how our expectations compare to last year and also how our expectations compare to the start of the season this year. 8-2. I didn't even realize until it came out this week, people were talking about it, that this is the best start that the Bills have had since 1993. I didn't realize in any of Allen's seasons the best they were was 7-2. I don't know if that was 2020, and then they went 7-3 after that or something like that. So obviously, I don't think none of us predicted that they would be at this point at this part of the season, right? Even the most optimistic. I don't know.
Yeah.
We should look. I don't know. Somebody thought that Curtis Samuel was going to be.
I don't know who that was. I don't know.
Jesus
who that
Christ
was.
Reincarnated. But
all he needed was 40 yards a game, like he just got on Sunday, and he would have got it. And the Bills just are like, boop, brain fart. What is this guy? Get him the water bottles.
I think the turf toe had something to do with it too.
Yeah, well, you could say that. Whatever you say, whatever excuse you want, I'm buying it. I don't care if it's the sun coming through Jerry Jones' stadium in Dallas is affecting him in Buffalo. Something's going on. So.
Right. How funny is that though? Jerry Jones builds a multi-billion-dollar stadium and decides to point it a different way than the rest of the stadiums in the NFL. That you think they would have thought about it a little bit. And now that somebody had the audacity to suggest curtains, and Jerry's like, well, like fires back at him and is like throwing Mike McDaniel or throwing Mike McCarthy under the bus in the process. Like,
talk about a disaster. They be coachable, Jerry Jones. Come on. Your players are begging for it. It clearly cost you on the field. Are you watching the game?
Right. I had this question too. Do you think that, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but do you think that other franchises fans were laughing as hard at us during the drought as we are right now at the Jets and the Cowboys?
For sure.
Because the Bills were always mediocre, but they were never like that much of a joke as like, because the Bills never entered seasons with sky high expectations like that, right? Like what's the most hyped up a preseason had been? Like J.P. Lossman,
Lee Evans,
T.O. I mean, I guess there's that.
That's a good question, John. And I think the time that it changed, and this is like a turning point in my life, as it is for all Buffalonians, is watching the game on New Year's freaking Eve. Jay Ajayi getting a 60-yard run with 10 men on the field with Rex Ryan as coach, losing to the Dolphins in overtime the day Tyrod finally breaks the 300-yard passing drought that lived as long as the drought did. And we lose the game. Ryan gets fired. The ping pong tables get taken out of the locker room. McDermott comes back. They bench Tyrod because he's got the guaranteed money.
And that game was miserable because Ryan Tannehill was hurt. If I remember, Matt Moore was playing quarterback. We lost to the Dolphins backup.
Right. I think you might be right.
I think
which is up there with losing to the 1-15 Raiders, or 2-14 Raiders rather.
Those two moments, right? I mean, you don't expect Kyle Orton to drag you to the playoffs, but that league that year just kind of fell that way. But I think that time when the Bills lost that game, they were laughing stock in the NFL.
Yeah. But I'm going to enjoy the Cowboys and the Jets, two of the franchise. I mean, I don't really have anything against the Jets as an entire franchise, but as soon as Aaron Rodgers showed up there and started running his show, I reserve every right to make fun of every single aspect of that organization.
We should have beef with the Jets. We are the beasts of the East. They are the... give me something about planes crashing that's not offensive.
I mean, like if you want to...
Good luck with that.
I mean, if you want to be like super cynical... since 1970, you know how many times the Jets have won the AFC East?
Less than the Colts.
I was going to say, less than the Indianapolis Colts.
A laughable amount.
Yeah.
2 times.
That's hilarious.
Mark Sanchez, baby.
Well, I was going to say, one of those, they went to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, as a wild card, though.
As a wild card, yeah. That's hilarious. What were the 2 years that they won in there?
Bill Belichick is the defensive coordinator in 1998, and then I guess they won it in 2002 as well.
2 maybe? Yeah.
That's so funny. The New York Jets in their 1 year of Bill Belichick.
So just when you feel bad, just remember that the Jets have won it twice in the past 50 years. So.
And there is hope that the Sabres break the drought before the Jets do, because I think the Jets are in a long haul here and the Sabres seem close. They both have the longest active droughts tied for playoffs in sports history.
I don't know if I see the Sabres getting it this year, so it's all going to depend on who can rebuild faster.
Sabres update: Tage Thompson's hurt. He was a stud, like MVP quality player until he gets hurt yesterday. So we'll see what happens. But
yep. I have kept myself away from emotionally investing in the Sabres this year. unfortunately.
Emotionally and financially. I'm not paying for a ticket at all. I went to a game, first game. By now, I'm usually at like 3, but I did go to the game on Saturday. It was cool to see him win. Tage Thompson scored another highlight reel goal, but no, we lost again. So
I have this I want to share with you guys talking about, emotional investment. You know how we talk about the emotional hedge on this show, betting against the Bills, just in case they lose. I haven't done that in a while, but I found, I think, the best example of the emotional hedge that I have ever seen. A Broncos fan, when the Chiefs were lining up when the Broncos were lining up for the game-winning field goal, put $100 on the Kansas City money line at plus 1,200.
Wow.
So he turned his $100 into $1,300 while watching his team lose in a miserable fashion. So, ladies and gentlemen,
hilarious.
That is probably the best emotional hedge that I've seen. Of course, like DraftKings shared it. But you gotta love it. You gotta love it. That's a baller move.
yes, it is.
But
Yes, it is.
all right, so you want to look at Buffalo's next 4 games. Not to peek too far ahead, but Brandon, you brought this up in the group chat.
Yes.
They've got the Chiefs, then they've got the bye week, which comes at a good time. They're probably going to need to get healthy after this. Then they host the 49ers. Then they go on the road for the Rams and the Lions after that. So 4 games, Chiefs, 49ers, Rams, Lions. What's an acceptable record out of that stretch?
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. I mean, I would say 1-3 if we beat the Chiefs up here. I think 9 or 10 wins seals it for us, at least division-wise. So
You're right. I mean, you want to be hot going into the playoffs, but I agree with you guys. Like 2-2 is like, I'd still feel good about 2-2.
Yeah.
1-3 is kind of like, then you got to get some momentum in December, right? But I mean, I don't know. I got to forget what the schedule looks like after that. I know you have 2 matchups against the Patriots remaining.
It's like Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I don't know. There's one.
It's
good.
Missing. And that Rams team did not look good last night.
No,
really,
they looked terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Even with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back in the lineup as well. So Miami played out of their minds on defense. It was kind of weird. But
if you take a look at the Dolphins schedule, I want to say if the Bills win this week and the Dolphins lose, it sets up almost a clinching scenario by Thanksgiving.
I think there might be. I heard the clinching scenario was week 11, which again, I guess that might not be the case anymore since the Dolphins won versus the Rams. So maybe it might be another week after that.
Well, before December, December 1st, you clinch. Give me a clinch on the 49ers night.
Give me the t-shirt, and I can wear it to the Christmas party with the division champion t-shirt. That'd be pretty good. Anyway, so I think 2-2 acceptable, 3-1 phenomenal, 4-0 in that stretch, and we're winning the Super Bowl by 40. Don't get me wrong, that's
if we stay
those are the
healthy,
expectation levels, right?
Yeah,
which of course is the variable. But guess
the Detroit game makes me nervous, man.
Guess whose practice window just opened up?
Ladies and gentlemen, on the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
So
Josh Allen wants to fight you for that.
Also, let me know what you guys think of this idea. Did you see that Tyrell Dotson got released by the Seahawks?
He got claimed by the Dolphins today.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh,
they picked 10th on the waiver. We picked 30th on the waiver.
Right. So we'll never know if we actually put a claim in or not unless Brandon Beane says yes or no. But they probably wouldn't have, because if he was going to pass the 30, he would have passed all the way through anyway. Yeah. Probably.
It would have been nice to have him. You and I are on the same page finally to have a backup plan before our undrafted free agent backup plan.
He's a great backup plan.
Yes.
But again, he wasn't going to be a backup plan in the offseason because of what he was going to get paid on the open market.
I think he's got $3 million salary too. Somebody has to fit if they take him, maybe 2.5. Yannick Ngakoue is another guy that went through waivers. I don't know if he got claimed today or not, but I saw him and the linebacker we're just talking about.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, linebacker depth ideas are good because that's the thing that screwed us last year. I think that's single-handedly the biggest reason why we lost last year.
Well, exactly that. And you look at around the league, they have other guys that can come in. But I think this is kind of a good transition, John, to my question that I want to ask you. This is a tough one for you, boys. I got a nail biter. We talking about linebacker depth. We're talking about corner depth. We're talking about the Bills defense as a whole playing well this week. But my hard question for you guys, who is your most valuable player, your favorite player, most important to the Bills defense this year? If you have to pick one of the 3, Terrell Bernard, Taron Johnson, or Christian Benford, and why?
I don't know. I think you have to go with Taron Johnson, but just by a hair, because he's largely the reason why they can play nickel so much, because he's the best run stuffing nickel in the entire league. Like, if he wasn't on this team, I feel like the Bills getting run all over would be a story this year, because if they had another linebacker, like, they can just stay in nickel all the time. If they were actually trying to play pass and run, I feel like the defense would have given up a ton more points, because they'd be caught in pass situations with 3 linebackers on the field, maybe, or maybe they'd be in run situations with a nickel like Cam Lewis, who's not as talented in that same position. So whereas Terrell Bernard has been amazing, but it's like we also had Balen Spector come in and do a pretty good job in his absence, where he had a rough start to it, but like those last couple games that he was playing, it's like the drop off was not as severe as taking Taron Johnson off the field,
Cam
which
Lewis?
we also saw.
What about his play?
Also a drop off.
Yeah. Well, this is a good point, John, and I'm leaning to agree with you the more we talk about it. And Pat, maybe you're the swing vote here, but Taron Johnson does both of Bernard and Benford's job, right? So he plays a hybrid position where he can play linebacker-esque, where he plays the nickel, stops the run, still great in coverage. My thing with Bernard, though, is the splash plays, man. Our defense, the eye test. I don't have any stats. I don't have any PFF grades. I don't have run splits. I don't have pass splits.
We're not usually about that life on this show anyway.
No, but my 4 eyes tell me that Terrell Bernard is a superstar who is in on almost every tackle, in on every turnover, and just changes the game for the Bills. But I still think Taron Johnson does it, but the way that you can deploy Taron Johnson makes him a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Pat, are you going to throw a wrench into things and say Christian Benford and we're both wrong? Or no, Pat's going to pull up Dorian Williams and be like,
I mean, I like Dorian Williams, but he's low key. He's a Rudy Rudiger-esque energy player. But no, I mean, like when you watch the Lions, though, I mean, I feel like I watched the game and it was just Brian Branch, like, was the straw that stirred the drink. So I guess to, that point, you got to go Taron Johnson. And you think about the longevity of, his super high play. I will say, though, Christian Benford, but also across from him, Rasul Douglas. I feel like people sleep on Rasul as well.
Your tandem, John, the question that we circled back to, is this the best cornerback duo that we've had here? I think it's a yes.
Yeah.
All right, we finally convinced them. It took half a season, but yeah.
I told you I got to see a little more. We've had the number 1 passing defense with EJ Gaines and Trey White and Poyer and Hyde. So I think this model beats that for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, just to I have this point written down and I forgot to bring it up when we were talking about expectations, because we didn't really talk about our expectations and where they are from the beginning of the season. I just ranted a little bit and we moved on to something else. So I apologize.
Well, the expectations of the next 4 games, right? It's like, do we expect to, if we look back at our records, are we 1-3? Are we 2-2?
I just want to point out, so like the biggest difference in my mind between this year and last year and why we're so beyond expectations, I think we've just subtracted the dumb losses. I don't think that this team is markedly better.
Don't jinx us
from a roster standpoint. I mean, yes, there could still be dumb losses, but I looked at the schedule last year. How many dumb losses do you think there were last year? Just like a number off the top of your head.
4, and if you call them dumb, it's coaches, man. It's our coach. We had bad coaching. Like if it's dumb.
So like how many games? Like 4? Like Pat said, 4? I have 1. Okay, let's see. Let's count them up. Eagles game, dumb loss. Would you agree?
They were good though.
There's a bad call.
Yeah. That's a dumb loss. The bad call is Sean Hockley, the horse collar that wasn't called, and then that play was called intentional grounding. That's pretty much that.
Then you got
game.
McDermott turtling at the end.
Right. So. Jets lost week 1. Punt return for a touchdown.
We played bad
special
though.
Teams.
We played bad.
I still think that's a dumb loss. Okay.
I keep going.
Okay. Yeah. London, Jacksonville.
Oh God.
Dumb loss.
Terrible.
They
dumb
played
loss.
Better than us, man. I don't think that was dumb. I think we got outplayed.
That Broncos game was horrendous, and had we lost to the Giants, I would have had a nervous breakdown. We're
getting there.
We're getting there. I'd argue those two we got beat more than a dumb loss.
It's a dumb loss. It's a game you should have won, right? Yeah. It's a game you definitely should have won. Patriots loss.
Oh.
Mac Jones drives down the field on you. Like, what?
That's dumb. That's a dumb loss. That's a dumb loss.
I'll give you that.
Denver is the last dumb loss. So that's 5. We got 5 dumb losses from last year. This year we're
We only
sitting
lost
at
6 games though. I feel like
we're sitting at one dumb loss, right?
Which one?
Houston this year.
Again, we were outgunned.
I just played like inexplicably bad and still had opportunities to win that game, which was really weird.
Both of the games that we have lost this season, we looked like we didn't have the personnel to compete with, but we do now. So it's different. Two different teams.
I have a feeling, I have a sinking feeling in my stomach that might rear its ugly head if you're down receivers versus Kansas City.
Definitely.
Because that's a defense that will definitely take advantage of any kind of deficiencies that you have on offense, I would think.
The cool thing about expectations, John, like you said, is each quarter of the season, these teams evolve so much. They're so different from the first part of the season. So we could do this again to close the season, and our expectations could be so much higher, even if we go 1-3, because we're healthy, we have an easier schedule. Or we win these 4 games and somebody gets hurt at Ford Field again. And now we're like, oh my God, like, well, let's scrape through here. So right now, the expectations definitely changed. We are sugar high Josh right now, I think, right? You have to be. You got a chance for the 1 seed still. So you got to be happy about that.
Right. At least through this week. If they lose to the Chiefs, that road gets a lot tougher through the back half of the season. But Chiefs have won all these stupid games. I don't see why they can't start losing a bunch of close, stupid games, but we'll see. Do you want to roll through game picks here really quick, Brando?
Let's go through it.
You have time? We can.
I got 10 minutes. Okay,
right.
We're doing these less than 10 minutes. Bum, 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 bum. All right, game picks, week 10 recap. Pat is just grabbing us both by the throat, ready to choke slam us. We are couple games behind. Graphic. John's a couple games behind. Pat goes 4-2 again after following up a 5-1 week. He's on a heater, folks. He is on a heater, and
he is on a heater.
John stays at 500, goes 3-3. Brando 2-4. You're struggling here.
So basically, we have spread out the pack. We were all 1 game apart. It's very symmetrical. We were all 1 game apart last week. Now we are all 2 games apart. So Pat's 2 up. I'm in the middle, and Brando, you're 2 back from me.
Yep.
So
still all above 500 for you betting pundits keeping track. So I think I scored our records at 99 and 81 for the season so far. I think that's pretty good if you're a professional bettor. Maybe you check us out or whatever. But anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So Pat, we got to do Pat's hit rate here. Okay. Brando, you roll off the first game. I'm going to do some math here really quick.
First game for this season, for this week, right? Week 11.
Yep.
Okay. We have an AFC North battle. Baltimore going to Pittsburgh. Baltimore is -3 point favorite. Pat, you're on the hot spot, buddy. That's what you get for being good.
Yeah, well, although Mike Tomlin is Stanley Steamer, give me the Ravens.
Well, I have 2 words for you, and they are TJ Watt. And TJ is 1 word because it is initials. I'm going to take the points.
Debatable.
Give me the Steelers here at home.
All right. I think the spread is kind of small. I know it's a divisional matchup, and these AFC North matchups like usually are low scoring and goofy and physical. And I just always remember that AB hit where remember that guy from the Bengals? Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. That's what I think of as AFC North matchups. But I just think Baltimore wins 7 out of 10 here, so I'm gonna go with them -3.
They might win 7, but tonight is our night. Mike Tomlin in the locker room before.
Right.
Game. So, all right. Now we are going to go to the lowly New York Jets. They are hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Now, somehow the Jets are 4-point favorites here. Aaron Rodgers is also in his 40s, and he's looking like he's in his 40s. Because of that, I'm going to take the points in the Colts. Joe Flacco starting again. Maybe they pull the trigger on Anthony Richardson if he struggles, but give me Jonathan Taylor to run on them, and Aaron Rodgers is old.
Yeah, I was going to say Jonathan Taylor versus the Jets run defense, which has become a little bit of a liability. I'll take points here and Indianapolis for sure. Yeah. I can't believe the Jets are still laying points. I mean, it's not like they're injured. They're just bad. And I'd be surprised if they didn't continue to be bad. So, but Pat, what do you think?
that was a cold
Giddy up,
day.
cowboy.
Giddy up.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I don't want to call this the game of the week because Bills Chiefs is like the game of the year, but this is Jameis Winston revenge story. The Browns are going to New Orleans to take on the riddled with injury Saints as underdogs. Give me the Winston underdog point to get the win in this game.
Brando, when you started with that intro game of the week, I thought you were looking at the wrong game. I was about to roll you back again, but no. Give me New Orleans. I don't know. I just they look good last week. They're doing the new coach thing.
But the second game is always the letdown. I always think
it always is the letdown. Cleveland's had their letdown, after getting Jameis Winston. So I don't know. I'm just gonna go Saints. I don't know about this one.
I mean, could you imagine being so thin on players that you pick up MVS, who is just chilling, probably at Jim's Steakout on Route 5 in Buffalo for a majority of his Bills, tenure,
Nothing
and then he just goes and has, what did he have, three?
Bites.
He had like 3 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, give me the Browns.
Insane stat line. Everyone's picking up MVS on waivers in fantasy tonight. And I don't know if that's a great idea. So,
not me. All right, we're going to a cross-conference matchup. Atlanta is flying to Denver, to the Mile High City. Can birds fly in Mile High air? That's a good question. Not for us, but the Broncos are -2.5 here. I think we have an interesting line, Pat. I'm going to put you back on the hot seat because you're winning. You got to go first.
Well, I know that Bo knows that the Broncos are going to win, so... and cover.
All right, give me the Dirty Birds for this one. They lost a weird divisional matchup last week. I don't know about Denver. Their defense is, they went toe to toe with the Chiefs. I get it, but
he reminds me of the young Josh. I'll say it.
Special this year, though.
That's true.
No, the young Josh is in our division. His name's Drake May, but we won't talk about him right now. I'm taking the Birds too. I think the Broncos. That is a locker room killer of a loss last week, right? If you're an O lineman, do you show up? Do you just call it? What do you do? If you're the left guard,
offensive lineman.
If you're the left guard that got pancaked.
Oh, come on. If we're talking position groups that quit first on their team, are we starting with the O line?
Never.
If they quit first, then they just make everyone else's life terrible. So that's the ultimate position to quit when it's going to hurt everyone else behind you.
I think it's got to be the career. I think it's got to be the career special teamers that quit first.
No, it's DJ Moore running a route, jogging it, and Caleb Williams lays it out there, and DJ Moore's like 10 yards behind because he's just jogging. I don't know.
That's valid. That's valid.
Jogging. I just think that it's tough. How do you watch that on film? What do you do? How do you say that to a coach? Be like, everybody in the room knows you messed up. Do I have to say it? Like, do we just watch it silently? Do you just not speak about it? I'd like to know what Sean Payton did in the film room. But because of that, Kirk Cousins is going to bounce back. They're going to win this game.
Nice. Way to bring it full circle.
Yeah. So another team with their back against the wall. The Bengals are going out to the West Coast to play the Chargers. Chargers are -1.5 point favorites. This is a big AFC matchup. I have Joe Burrow covering the spread here. They seem to be better than the Chargers. Chargers are kind of boring, but give me Burrow and Chase because Herbert and Quentin Johnson are not as good as Burrow and Chase.
Yeah. Can you believe that Jamar Chase went for like 264 and they lost? Like that's just tough. That's going to be a stat that we talk about a couple years from now, I feel like. Also, can you believe after Thursday Night Football, Brando and I's fantasy matchup was like 100 to -4 after
I believe it was. I think you had Chase Brown and I
had Chase Brown and Jamar Chase.
I think it was like 78 to -4.
It was at least 80 or 90 because Jamar Chase had 64 and Chase Brown had 20. So
I'm 0-9, dude.
Something like that.
Feel good about it, buddy. You throw me in the dirt some more. All right.
Hey,
Pat,
right.
Give me your game pick. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right. Well, I hate to be a little bit McConkey, my lad, on this, but give me the Bengals. Is that any worse though than Eric Moulds having 240 yards in a playoff game and the Bills losing? But
that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Give me Cincy. I'm with you guys on this one. I think that I'd even give them favored points. I'd lay points with them, so I'm comfortable with that pick.
Could be a good tease on the parlay builder.
It's true. All
right. Can I get a drum roll, please? Brrr. The game of the season, the game of the year, the two GOATs, Josh Allen I'm not even going to make a goat name for Mahomes because I hate him. We got the Bills hosting the Chiefs. Only game on TV. The Bills are 2.5 point favorites. Now, I will give you a little bit of information here, John and Pat. The Buffalo Bills Kansas Chiefs game is being refereed by Land Clark. He has not officiated a Bills or Chiefs game this season.
Right,
last game was at the Commanders. The crew calls penalties at a slightly below average this season, 12.11 this season per game.
Get ready for some Chiefs corners to hold.
Chiefs record with Land Clark. Anybody want to take a guess?
Very good.
It's good. It's good.
It's 5-0.
Well, to be fair, they're also 9-0 on the season, so it's like they win a lot of games.
I think this is just overall.
I know that's not this season.
This info is all from Sal Capaccio at WGR. The Bills' record with Land Clark is 3-2, so it's not garbage. But game of the year,
Land's
Mahomes
also not
Allen.
a real name.
And again, Land is a place that we walk, so that is not a real name. I'm going to say it for everybody that wants to hear it. Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes this season. It's not arguable. It's the eye test. It's the stats test. And it's going to be the victory on Sunday when the Bills cover 2.5 points.
All right. Well, Brando, I want to point out that Bills Chiefs is not the only game on TV. It is the only CBS game, but 3:05 Fox has 2 games on: Falcons, Broncos, and Seahawks 49ers.
This guy does not know what he's talking about. I don't know. I got some bad information.
So it's the only game on CBS. I think it's got the entire country.
I told multiple people today that the 4:00 time slot was the Bills by themselves. So
it is on CBS.
Yeah.
But anybody, you might want your money back from Brando.
It's not financial advice.
Give me the Bills, baby. -2.5. I actually might be tempted to do an emotional hedge for this one, but you know the rules of game picks. Always pick the Bills.
Hey, money is on the Chiefs, 64%, as you can see in the image here. I like that for the Bills.
Yeah. Pat, what do you think?
A tale is old as time. A song is old as rhyme. I hate the f***ing Chiefs. But no, I got to go with the Chiefs for the emotional hedge here.
There you go.
Yes.
Chiefs plus the points, right? I mean, how many times do you get to take the Chiefs with the points?
Yeah. Bills to win, not to cover, baby.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a very, very fulfilling 2-point win. But
yeah.
Oh, that's true. All right. Well, I just had one more thing to share with you guys. I don't know. Were you guys watching the Germany game early on Sunday morning at all?
Oh, when Sean Hockley did the...
I was going to say, file this under the guy you hate actually did something cool this weekend. Like, absolutely hate Sean Hockley, but a little bit of respect for...
Yeah, you can have him, Germany. Take him. He already is. He's already, accustomed to the language of the cultures. Anymore. We don't want him here. You can have him.
It's just so funny. I actually saw a clip of Ed Hockley, his dad, reffing a game in Mexico in 2005 and did the same thing. Obviously didn't announce it in German. He did it in Spanish because it was Mexico. But I was like, all right, that's respect.
I have multiple questions here now. Ref crews have to get... How far out do they get their schedule? Because we don't get it announced until the week of. I would be curious if he knew that he's going to Germany and just starts practicing.
Probably. He probably knew he was getting that assignment ahead of time because they got to schedule extra travel and all that stuff.
Yeah, because instead of reviewing league policy and the best way to officiate games, you'd leave it up to Sean Hockley. That's where he wanted to invest his time. But sorry, Brandon.
So no, we're going to have games in Mexico, Ireland, Germany, London. The Bills will probably play in an exotic city next year. Odds are that we will.
Probably.
Are the refs going to do that language? Are they going to speak in a British accent? Are they
if they're in Ireland, I can guarantee it, actually, that they're going to do the native language. Yes. Anyway, guess the NFL ref yearly salary. Give me a ballpark.
$119,000.
Pat?
Yeah, $119K. That's including travel expenses.
$205 to $270,000.
They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it.
You work 20 games, man.
And not to sound like a jerk.
That's probably not counting playoff games.
Yeah, I don't know. They're overpaid. I don't know if there's a union or what I'm in a union, so I can't really talk. But like, I don't know what the deal is.
There is a union because they went on strike and that was the replacement refs. So I don't know. I think if you're going to pay them that much, I feel like you could bring people in full time that aren't attorneys during the week.
Yeah,
I'll do it for 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish there was some sort of like mathematical way, how like umpires, like they're competing against, like the computer that actually measures like their correctness of ball strike ratio.
And then they take the highest graded refs to do the playoff games.
Right.
I think there's a system like that.
There's probably a system, but yeah, it's a boys club. Like,
and how do you determine the fines on the hits? Is that a referee's call as well, or is that an NFLPA?
I think that's NFL player safety and the PA together kind of do that, or maybe it's just NFL player safety, and then they're opposed by the NFLPA, which represents all the players. But
I have a question for you. The NFL Players Association, the address, it's in Washington, D.C. It's 113320 North West Street. You're in there
Are you doxing
Tuesday.
the NFLPA right now?
No, I want to know what's the break room talk. You come in on Tuesday morning. What's the work week? Tuesday through Saturday?
I think if we played our cards right, we could probably get former NFLPA president and Esquire JT Treader on the show. If we played our cards right. I've met him in person before. I think if we played our cards right, he is from Akron. If we sent an email to his mother.
His jersey's hanging up there.
His mother worked at our school. But if we could get him on, I feel like he would have the best information.
Yeah, I wonder. I bet their workload has gone down since Antonio Brown has been out of the league. Like, that's just a guess. Usually that Tuesday you roll in, you're like, okay, what did he get fined for this week? Can we appeal? Should we appeal? Yeah. I think that's a little
if you're
bit of
you're at the Keurig, man. It's 9 a.m. Johnny walks in, Pat's sitting at the table. You're waiting for your coffee. Like, you guys think $11,000 for Poyer?
Brando, this is the office of an NFL associated thing. You think they're rocking a Keurig? Those guys, they probably have Nespresso in the bathroom. They've got a full on espresso machine.
They call games like it's 1985, man. They got an eye in the sky and they're missing blatant calls. They probably got this Mr. Coffee and it's got nasty stuff in it. Like, come on.
Oh my God.
I just want to know.
That's okay. Were we still talking about the NFLPA? Because you just started talking about refs there.
I would love to know, just like you think about your conversations with how was your weekend, with your coworkers. You come in, you get your donut, whatever is in the break room. How's your kids doing? You go to the Little League game, be like, did you catch the game? You see the hit on Keon Coleman? What do you think that's worth? You think they be like, hey, what's your math lesson going to be for today? I need a lesson, hey, is it $8,000, $10,000? We got a middle ground. Like, what do you think they talk like that?
I think they're probably on the phone in Buffalo, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we're getting complaints. It looks like right now AJ Klein wants his 4th veteran rest day in a row, and Sean McDermott's really not having it. But it's part of his union contract. He gets as many as he wants, and he's a 10-year veteran, so we got to pay him at least X amount. I feel like that's what it is. Or they're
take that expectation, like lower it down to like trailer park meth lab levels, and that's the NHL player safety office. I think that's where that's getting operated out of. So, but one more thing I wanted to share with you guys. Did you guys watch Boomer's Fastest 3 Minutes on Monday Night Football during halftime? It's one of my favorite things to catch every week.
Yeah.
Boomer had an all-time quote, and I was like, I didn't see anybody say anything about it. But so Boomer's Fastest 3 Minutes, he's rolling through stuff, starts with the Chiefs kick, right? And then he gets to the Germany game, and he introduces the Germany game like, Germany on Veterans Day weekend? Really?
He had a couple good one-liners in prime time too. If you guys got to watch it, if you don't watch it, you got to watch it every Sunday, 7 to 8.
So good. Gotta love Boomer. He's one of my favorite Bills fans.
Did you see he was in Buffalo?
Bills fans. How recently?
Like last week. He took a bunch of pictures with Allen and McDermott, and
nice.
Yeah,
he's great. I love him. He's the best. But all right, Brando, you got to get to beer league hockey here, so we're gonna roll out here. But as always, you can find us on all social media at Not Buff Podcast. Sorry, we haven't been posting clips lately. I've been super busy, but we'll definitely do it this week. As always, like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. If you enjoy the show, we appreciate all of you. Brandon's got one more.
More thing. You come into the game on Sunday, you be loud. If you're tailgating from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., you come in responsibly.
Mix in a water.
All right, have some water. It's cheaper at the stadium. Let's be nice to the Bills fans.
Blue light to stay hydrated, right?
Yes. Yes. Let's have a good time. Let's make it easy on the workers there. Make it hard on Mahomes. All right, let's do it.
I love it. All right, Pat, you got anything else?
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.